Like, how would you ever imagine that a dude who's an actor on a television show or in a movie is that smart? Like freaky smart. But his theory about the creation of planets, it's like, oh, that makes sense. We watch stuff fly off the sun all the time. And that this matter over time would coalesce and become a planet.
Yeah, creates an accretion disk. Everything in space creates accretion disk. So once So once you have a certain amount of mass in space, it instantaneously, on its own, wants to create this circular, like the shape of our Milky Way galaxy, it wants to start circling and swirling around itself. And then as it does that, begins to create friction. As that friction increases, the matter begins to collapse into each other based on its own energy, and then it then forms a ball. And that then builds and attracts more mass.
It's like James Bond drives this car. Shaking, not sure. What else are you feeling when you breathe? You go oxygen, so well known as breathing, helium, krypton, nitrogen. I said you breathing all these little gases. Oxygen is only about 21% of that, otherwise you'd be dead. He couldn't say, I said, did you graduate from high school? He said, no. I said, I stopped talking. That's when I realized, don't waste your energy on these people.
Well, there's a lot of dudes, unfortunately, who just get on YouTube. Don't know what they're talking about, which I do. But they do it the way where they pretend they know something is true that's not true.
Yeah.
And people get sucked into it. And I just don't understand why you would think that Earth is the only one out of all these things that we've observed that's flat. It just doesn't make any sense. I think this is respectful to all those people that believe that. I think it's a giant waste of time. I think concentrating on the shape of the Earth, even if it was flat, who fucking cares? Look at what's going on out there. It would be kind of crazy. We're so much more powerful, advanced, and special than everything else we do. We're the only ones that exist on a flat planet. But the whole thing is just so insane. Just what we know about the physical universe itself and about atoms and just what we know about all the matter that exists in our lives is insane.
Yes, exactly. Obviously, they haven't tapped into even forget quantum. They standard physics. They don't comprehend it, and so because of that, they're lost. I mean, satellites don't exist, obviously, to them. So I remember.
but then when you have it laid out to Crystal Earth, what's the name? I just had him a couple weeks ago. I just had a brain fart. His depiction of the mechanisms that would be involved in turning this giant structure into some sort of a power plant. You hear him, whoa.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And him and I have very similar theories on how the power generation occurred. And I believe that the Nile, used to run up close to the pyramids, and the water would run underneath the pyramid, and that would create something called physiostatic electricity as it ran underneath that magnetized crystal granite. Those ions would pour up into the chamber, move up the grand gallery, the resonating rods. But you can see the slots where the rods used to be, they're removed now, but the slots are still there. Once they pushed into the king chamber, then forced up through the apex, and then the crystal grand obelisk around the region temperature weapons fire.
So there's a bunch of people that seem to die all at once, just scattered around?
Yeah.
And what's the conventional explanation for how these people died?
They have no idea. They have zero idea. The only thing
that was just a couple, Jamie Cooter, the other, just the Mohenjo-daro mythical massacre.
Yeah.
So did they think it's a massacre? Is there any? I think it was just laying there.
Laying there. And that building, those stones are vitrified, which means 3,000 plus degree temperature.
Oh shit!
What kind of, what could have caused that level of temperature, an energetic release?
Well, it could have been a low atmosphere asteroid.
It could have been.
I mean, just like
that's possible.
Tunguska.
Yeah, it could have been a lot, but then their bones would have been splattered apart and broken into pieces.
Good call. Yeah, that's good call. Yeah, because They don't seem to be broken apart.
No, they're not broken apart.
Right.
That impact would have shattered the bones and spread them out over a great
Right,
distance.
but without impact, even if you just look at the one that burst in the atmosphere, Tunguska, just flattened trees.
Flat.
It's insane, like 1 million acres or something crazy.
Yeah, incredible.
So that toast, because the trees were ripped apart.
The building, any evidence of any injury of any kind of attack or any cutting or like swords or anything.
They just all got cooked.
Right. And then in the tower, Hank goes to his father. I knew, hey, can you go because he was people and down there. And he's like, there's nothing I can do. He said, you're sky shipping for a boat. Get the hell out of here. And he said that people's hair was falling out, their eyes were bleeding, their nose were bleeding, their fingernails were falling off. That sounds like radiation sickness.
So do you think it's radiation sickness to all these people, or was it an impact that did this to all these people?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
You know.
But they're not blown apart.
Right. They're not
That's the
blown
thing.
apart. It seems like whatever struck or whatever energetic weapon it was, it could have been might not have been a weapon. Whatever it was, it seems like that shock wave reached them at some point, and whatever was in that wave,
Just killed everybody.
that's what it did. Yeah.
And they just don't know what it is. How does a conventional archaeologist describe it? Do they just say it's a massacre?
They just call it a mythical massacre, and they stay away from it. When you look in the other texts, the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita, you find out about these wars also. They're recorded. They have weapons called the Brahma-astra and the Brahma-handa weapon, and these weapons, they do what they describe them as doing, duplicate what you saw there.
How do they describe them?
They describe them as weapons that once released can't be revolted or can't be turned back, and that they will obliterate any area, any city. And they say that one of the weapons can destroy any man on 3 worlds. It's crazy stuff. This is where Oppenheimer got his famous quote when he obviously tested the nuke, right?
Right.
Now I have become death, destroyer of worlds. He got that from the Mahabharata.
Yeah. What a great quote.
Yeah.
To say after you detonate the first nuclear bomb.
Oh man, crazy.
What a great quote.
Yeah.
So the idea is that there were beings that were having wars on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Were they? Do you believe they were having wars with people that were revolting, or were they having wars with other beings?
They were fighting with each other. And evidence of these wars can be found in the book of Deuteronomy in the modern day Bible. These gods, I do mean gods with an S, but everywhere in the Bible where it says God singular, it's actually a mistranslation. The actual, if you backward look up the translation in Arabic and then now to Aramaic and everything else, you find out it's gods plural. They were fighting each other over resources and people and control of